2018 Mercedes-Benz S-Class car review. Trying to think of criticisms for almost any members of Mercedes-Benz S-Class lineup thinks a bit like picking nits having a Monet painting. You are nearly reduced to stabbing the canvas which has a crayon to find something ought to have complaint. Similarly, finding fault with all the latest S-Class Coupe and Cabriolet models takes some effort, an effect reinforced even as spent time from the updated for 2018 versions from the luxurious full-size two-doors, that offers a new engine, the carmaker's latest driver assistance features, and subtle styling revisions. The good points of 2018 Mercedes-Benz S-Class: glorious looks, feel, and power, impeccable construction, well-integrated safety tech. The bad points of 2018 Mercedes-Benz S-Class: cabriolets are tight on trunk space, new steering wheel controls don't feel expensive. The Holy Trinity. These changes follow quick for the heels of people applied for the four-door S-Class. As using the sedan, the non-AMG two-door V8 models, formerly badged S550, happen to be rechristened S560 and given Mercedes-Benz's ubiquitous twin-turbocharged 4.0-liter V8. Replacing a twin-turbo 4.7-liter V8, the brand-new engine stirs up 463 horsepower, a gain of 14, and precisely the same 516 lb-ft of torque. The engine also gains advantage from a fuel-saving cylinder deactivation feature that closes half on the cylinders under light loads, although only from the coupe version, not the Cabrio. The S560 Coupe comes standard with 4MATIC all-wheel drive. Even so, the S560 Cabriolet is strictly rear-wheel drive. A very similar, in it hand-built, twin-turbo 4.0-liter V8 gets into the Mercedes-AMG S63 in 2010, where it makes a mighty 603 horsepower and 664 lb-ft of torque. Here again, several .0-liter supplies a gain in horsepower 26 ponies, to get exact. However, its peak torque remains exactly the same as the engine it replaces, a twin-turbo 5.5-liter V8. Mercifully, a year ago's at times jerky 7-speed automatic transmission, fitted which has a multiplate clutch connecting it to your engine, is gone. In its place sits an impeccably behaved version on the same 9-speed automatic used inside S560, although while using clutch pack coupler. All-wheel drive remains standard about the S63 Coupe and Cabriolet, though the system has with additional holdover torque distribution as opposed to outgoing setup. That nifty trick compelled Mercedes to rebrand this version as 4MATIC Plus. Mechanically, the 12-cylinder Mercedes-AMG S65 remains the identical. That's not entirely a bad thing, considering the twin-turbocharged V12 621 horsepower and 738 lb-ft of torque. The only downsides for the S65 are its occasionally clunky 7-speed automatic transmission here which has a conventional torque converter plus the lack of an all-wheel drive option. Both could be blamed around the V12's mountain of torque, that is too great for virtually every other Mercedes transmission or all-wheel drive transfer case to deal with. In spite of the new engines, the S560 along with the S63 motor as time goes on much like ones. The 4.0-liter V8 offers snappier throttle response as opposed to ultra-smooth 4.7 and 5.5-liter engines it replaces. And we tip our cap to your S63's 9-speed automatic transmission, which exhibits none in the low-speed slipping sensations, occasional gear change stumbles, or laggard responses to manual shifts in the 7-speed unit. We suspect the S560 and also the S63, comparable to their four-door siblings, will likely be slightly quicker inside our testing. The freshened S65 won't be, Also it likely will again be slower compared to $70,000 less expensive S63 due to the greater mass and absence of launch-aiding all-wheel drive traction. Every two-door S-Class otherwise remained smoother than melted butter poured more than a Teflon mattress. Setting the adaptive suspension to its Sport Plus, or, about the AMG's only, race modes adds barely a whiff of starch on the baseline comfort ride. They're all quiet, too, perhaps the Cabriolet models, at least when their tripella or acoustically lined cloth tops are raised. Those lids filter out enough noise to convince you that you're traveling in a fixed-roof car. They also is usually powered along at increases to 31 miles per hour within 20 seconds. As before, the Cabriolet can effectively nix most front seat wind buffeting at highway speeds while using top-lowered, due to a power-deploying rear wind blocker along with the pop-up air deflector that runs over the windshield header. A manually installed secondary wind blocker that covers the corner seats further helps preserve hairdos but generates a reasonable bit of noise. Pretty. Every 2018 S-Class Coupe and Cabrio, through the S560 towards the S63 towards the S65, receives updated back and front bumpers, sparkling multi-element LED headlights, and organic LED OLED taillights. The S63 plus the S65 gain a whole new grille with vertical strakes, known by Mercedes because Panamericana grille because the look is inspired with the brand's mid-century 300 SL race car that won the 1952 car era Panamericana. This design is splotching through Mercedes-AMG's lineup, having first debuted about the AMG GTR performance car, and it also looks great within this class. Inside, every two-door S-Class has a whole new 3-spoke control shared with all the sedan. In what qualifies like a big deal among Mercedes faithful, the cruise control switches have moved coming from a steering column stalk to your wheel itself. The tiller also gains a similar pair of touch-sensitive thumbpads since this class sedan plus the A-Class. The right-hand pad manipulates the very center display. As you move the left navigates the digital gauge cluster's menus. Those twin, 12.3-inch TFT screens now share an individual glass cover. In addition towards the steering wheel pads and voice control, the command infotainment setup may be manipulated by way of a touchpad around the center console, a rotary knob, along with a series of hard button shortcuts to key menus. We generally find the revolutionary steering wheel touchpads to lack accuracy and quite often take a few swipes to answer inputs, whilst the central touchpad and knob are definitely more responsive and much easier to use. The command system overall is not difficult, provided that you don't dive too deeply into its audio, navigation, phone, or settings submenus beyond, say, changing a radio station or setting a different destination. There are a fantastic number of vehicle parameters anybody can change, personalize, or shut off and on, but messing with them as you move the car is moving takes an excessive amount concentration. There. We found another scuff for this class's shoes. The rest in the interior carries over largely unchanged from a year ago. It is as decadent as it ever was, as illustrated from the massaging seat's capability to initiate kneading by way and the verbal command massage on. The cabin's effortlessness jives well with all the 2018 model's upgraded semi-autonomous driver assistance tech. A revised sensor package now permits autonomous lane changes at highway speeds, whilst the adaptive cruise control can slow the automobile for curves, traffic circles, or exit or entrance ramps depending on navigation data. As before, the lane-keeping function can self-steer abbreviated periods before asking the motorist to put a hand for the wheel. Say what you would about the necessity or practicality of a full-size two-door that starts at $125,495 for your S560, $168,695 with the S63, and $239,895 to the S65. For the cabriolets, add $8,800 to snag an S560, $11,800 with an S63, and $12,000 to have an S65. These cars exist for everyone the wants, not the requirements, of a moneyed clientele who demand style along with a divinely isolated driving experience. The S-Class coupes and cabrios succeed wildly at those pursuits, while being as close to make their own as you'd expect given their prices.